Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, thank you, Mr. Producer. We are back, and I am joined by Shari Yetto, and we were just talking a little bit. Shari, nice to meet you.
Wonderful to meet you too.
So, Shari, now you have a metaphysical shop. First of all, tell the audience what I know. There are a bunch of beginners that don't know what that is. So can you tell people what a metaphysical shop is?
Basically, a metaphysical shop is a pagan religious spiritual store. We carry, things like candles, incense, crystals, essential oils, statues, books, tarot cards, everything that someone needs that is following the earth religion of any variation of paganism.
I want to get back to that, but I do first of all want to ask, excuse me, you got a lot of experience with this. You didn't show up yesterday. You've been doing this, and you know your stuff. Tell me about your experience. How long you've been doing this and stuff?
Well, I started studying when I was 12. I just turned 61 yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. I started Charlotte's Mystical Web as a mail order back in 1989, before there was ever internet or anything else. Mm-hmm. And I opened my store in Jackson, June 1st, will be 21 years ago.
Wow.
I've been reading cards since the mid 1980s. I actually still use my original deck.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, my goal every day is to change at least one person's life for the better.
Yeah, you help a lot of people. Yeah.
I try to. That's my goal. And like I tell people, if I help 10 people today, that doesn't mean I get the next 9 days off. Tomorrow I get up with the same goal. So
that's awesome, because I know that you're not a fan of these shops that pop up overnight, and they really just are looking to make a buck, and they're not having the passion to help other people like you do at Charlotte's Mystical Web. That's I'm saying it right. It's Charlotte's Mystical Web, right? And that's in Jackson, Tennessee, but virtually you can help anybody, right?
I can. And they can find me on Facebook, through Messenger, or I have Charlotte's Mystical Web page there as well. And where I answer people. I've got a website. And I ship everywhere, so and you can call me, and I do my best to help people. I do, like I said, I do readings. I do not work spells for people. Anybody, in my opinion, anybody that claims that they do that, they usually don't. They're just trying to take your money, because it's usually a minimum of $200. And I'm the type that says, if it means that much to you, you're going to do the work yourself. I'll help you with it. I'll sell you what you need. I'll tell you how to do it. But it's like I say, if I help you, if I work a love spell for you, that man shows up on my doorstep, my husband's going to want to kill him, so you need to do it yourself.
Wow. Shari, there's so many things I want to ask you. I want to unpack everything, but what did you just say that was? That was called what kind of spell? What was that called?
A love spell, like a love spell.
Yeah, but before that,
we were trying to.
A non-work.
What's that?
Work.
Oh, there are people out there that claim, send me $200 and I'll work this love spell for you, or whatever kind of spell, and they say that you're going to get it. Well, most of the time you're not, and because most of the time they don't actually do anything, they're just taking your money.
I see.
So anybody that puts that kind of a price on something, they're usually a scam.
Okay.
And that's what I work real hard to teach people that.
Right. Well, you're not in business as long as you are by doing stuff like that. Yeah,
exactly.
You got into this just to help people. I think that's awesome. But let me back up. I want to unpack something here, because there are terms that, my whole thing, Shari, is that I'm just really curious, and I don't know a lot of the terms, and I'm not afraid to look stupid. So
it's okay. I teach.
Okay, that's why I just want to ask you, because I think a lot of people in their car right now, or people watching this, whatever, may not know anything about paganism. Can you explain kind of what that is?
Okay, paganism is an earth religion. Okay, it's what people did prior to Christianity. Okay, it dates back, documented 8,000 years before Christianity to the Sumerians. That's
Okay.
the first documented people, and all the records were on what's called cuneiform, which is it's a rock. I don't know if it's concrete, but whatever type of rock they had back then, cylinder, and it has, the writings are on that, and they've been translated over the years and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But it's like under paganism, a lot of people have heard of Wicca.
Yes,
All right.
I heard of that. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Is that
Well,
about nature and
Wicca,
stuff?
right. Wicca falls under paganism. Okay. So, just like you have druids and, many different paths or pantheons. It's like under Christianity, you got Baptist, Methodist, Catholic,
Oh, okay.
Presbyterian, whatever. Paganism is the umbrella term for nature-based religions.
So why does it get such a negative? Sometimes it has like it has a undertone. Sometimes that's negative.
Well, mainly because of the fact that it's taught that in the churches, that it's all,
Oh,
if you don't
okay.
follow Christianity, then you're satanic, you worship the devil. We don't believe in the devil. Okay. That was something that was actually invented by Dante and the Christian religion. So, there are demons, there are nasty, spirits out there,
Mhm.
but we don't believe in, heaven, hell, all of that. That is, a Christian concept. And so everybody has, we believe everybody has a right to believe and worship the way that you choose. We believe in gods and goddesses. Okay, so you have the duality, because they say everyone was made in God's image. Well, you and I look very different. So,
That's why, yeah.
and right, and so even within the Christian Bible, you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Well, the Holy Spirit is actually the feminine aspect. They kind of remove that because within the patriarchal, okay, male oriented, a lot of never had place. It's just like women weren't able to vote for a long time, different
Right,
things,
right.
And so when, you got to put everything in there, it's just like you can't have dark. All right. We have daylight, we have nighttime. Well, you have masculine, you have feminine. We
Yeah.
all have masculine, feminine energies in us. All males started off as females.
Women.
You don't actually, when the woman is pregnant, you don't actually become a male until somewhere between the third and fourth month.
Really? I don't know that.
So yeah, but we all have both energies in us, and so therefore we can use those, as needed. And it's just like, the word spell, freaks out a lot of people. 70% of my customers are Christian, but I have no qualms with any religion. But I'm very welcoming to everyone. But a spell is the same as a prayer. When a Christian prays, you're asking for something.
Yeah, what's the difference?
There's not. The biggest difference is that a lot of times we'll use a candle or incense or something, which isn't necessary, but a lot of us like them. It's a focal point, and so, but anytime a group of people or even a single person, focuses energy and directs it somewhere, it's the same thing. Prayer, spell, the words are actually interchangeable.
Wow, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way, and it makes a lot of sense.
It
Wow.
is. Same thing. If you get a prayer group together and they're praying that somebody in the hospital gets well, it's the same thing. If I take and light a candle, put that person's name on it,
That's
right? And yeah, and send them healing energies. It's all the same thing.
Okay.
So everybody just needs to learn to get along.
That is the bottom line. Yeah, people really just need to not be know-it-alls.
See, yeah. Well, see, it's like the word pagan. Actually, it means outsider or country dweller. It came from the ones that lived outside of the king's kingdom, but they lived off the earth and healed with herbs and stuff.
So back then it was like the blue collar back then.
Yeah, we were outside the blue collar. we were just, or I guess we were the collar ones.
We didn't have collars.
Exactly. We lived out in the country.
It's so cool. I mean, but it's all based. A lot of nature is very important, right?
Right.
Star. I mean, is that a big part of it? Like the planets and stars.
Mhm.
Does that play any part? Because I think it's so cool.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, it's just like, the phases of the moon. Anything between the new moon and the full moon is when you bring things to you. Okay. Between the full moon and the new moon is when you get rid of things, negativity and, things out of your life that need to go. So all of that stuff plays a part.
Do you at the shop? Do you have? Do you work with crystals?
Oh, I do. I have lots of them.
And as far as educating people, do you ever do any like classes, or is it just someone will get will get in touch with you, and then they could ask you questions? How does that work? Do you ever do any like Q&A or anything on crystals or on different different? I want to call them products, but they're not products. They're things you have. Okay, all right.
They're products. It works. It's like, it's things I sell in my store. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I've actually been working on trying to have some workshops on a lot of that kind of stuff, just figuring out a spot to be able to do it. But I do teach classes. COVID has kind of played a role in, affecting those some. I don't really I had to finish the last set through Zoom, but, because of, the fear of getting people together.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the one responsible for, one person come in and get, 30 people sick.
I got you.
So I'm actually thinking about writing a third book and actually make it my classes. And that way, someone can learn those, but they can also always contact me, with questions and stuff like that.
That's cool. Tell me about your first two books. I didn't bring that up. I didn't know. Let me know about those.
Well, my first book is called Wicca for the Wise Witch. It's
Wicca
not
for
really,
the Wise Witch?
Yes. It's not really just for Wiccans or whatever. When I first wrote it is when most people still recognize Wicca as non-satanic. And I'm working on trying to teach people the word pagan, that not everybody is Wiccan, because it is, everybody practices a little different. Some people think Wicca's the only way. Other people think, Wiccas are all fluffy bunny and, so it's just, there you go. But anyway, my first book is the one that I wrote for people just starting off, especially because there really wasn't any, books out there at that time. That there's plenty of how-tos. There's not very many of what to look out for.
Gotcha.
And that has, there's a lot more in it too. And people that have been practicing for a long time actually still like that book as a reference book, because it's got, everything in it, stuff on candles and, or, the colors and herbs and oils and, what they're used for and, all sorts of things in it.
Mm-hmm.
And
you say what to look out for. What did you mean by that? What to look out for?
Well, because a lot of the pages end with "you have been warned," so
really?
It's like, yes, most definitely. Well, it's like, okay, one chapter is called "What's Wrong with This Spell?" And the reason for that, and a lot of them have stories in them, which are all true about somebody. I leave out either left out the name or changed it to protect the guilty.
Smart. That's smart.
But story, there's one thing to say, well, do this. Okay, but why and what happens when I do? Or, there's a lot of things to think about. So there was somebody that was part of my coven that had moved off. And so she had messaged me, and because she wanted to do this invisibility spell. Basically, because she wanted certain people to just not see her. We all want to hide from people from time to time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so she sends me this, and it's like 4 lines, and I'm reading it, and it's like, okay. And I get to the last line, and the hairs on the back of my neck and everywhere just stand up. And because of the possibilities, the very last line said, "And make me black as night." What are the possibilities? You could get burned. There's
oh geez. Oh, okay.
So many that could make you black as night or dark as night or any of those things. So
I get it.
You've got to be careful. Yeah, you never leave. All right. And so, that's why, it's like, okay, be careful and don't just take something that somebody else wrote. Think about it and make it your own.
Wow. I never so you really have to be careful about what
I think
you say here.
But
Yeah. I was trying to get through because you're frozen right now. Mr. Producer, what do I do when oh, is she coming back?
Nope.
Well, let me actually get while this is catching up here, guys. I'm speaking with Shari Yetto. Shari Yetto.
There we go.
And she's the owner at Charlotte's Mystical Web. That's located in Jackson, Tennessee. She has a website. The website is grape soda. charlottesmysticalweb.net, and that's how you can get a hold of Shari, and you could check out the metaphysical shop, candles, herbs, crystals, essential oils, jewelry, and a lot more. She actually has all natural soaps, lotions, and she wrote 2 books. She's working on a 3rd. We were just talking about Wicca for the Wise Witch, and if she is back, I want to ask her about things pagans should know. Do I have Miss Yetto back? She's frozen. Okay. Well, I'll continue to talk about.
You're kind of in and out. I'm hearing some of what you're saying.
These 2 books that she has, again, the first one we talked about, and Shari, if you can hear me, well, whenever you come back in, just let me know, okay? Because I can't hear you, and you're a little bit, but when you come back, let me know. But so the 2 books, Shari Yetto, the first one, Wicca for the Wise Witch, and the second one is Things Pagans Should Know. And she's a best-selling author, and this is bumming me out because she was just talking about something that was so interesting about one of the stories. Oh, there we go. I got it back. Okay. But she's frozen. But can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, even if you're frozen, I
can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so that story you were just talking about the person who wanted to be invisible spell, you were talking about how you really got to be careful about what you say. To be black as night could take on so many different, really horrible things.
Yes, it can. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you just have to really think about it, and that goes back to one of my main sayings that I, teach people is you are responsible for everything you think, say, and do.
So if you're not,
energy is matter, and matter goes out and directs whatever you're directing it at. It goes out and hits whatever you're directing it at. And it's like a lot of people, if they're not Wiccan, they don't believe in the if it harm none, do what you will. But karma's karma. It doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. Whatever you do, good or bad, it's coming back to you. So I'll try my best to do good out there so that I always get good back.
I mean, that's all we can do, right? I mean, it's I was just talking to somebody else. It's like the things that our mom taught us when we were like 2 or 3 are the things that we don't often do now, where it's just so simple. You treat people the way they want to be treated, or if you can't say something nice, don't say it.
Exactly. It's just,
so
it's
simple,
not that
right?
hard.
It's really not.
Yeah, you would think it would be very simple.
Yeah, you would think. Wow, I'm having fun talking to you, Shari. I just wish our connection was a little bit better. But
yeah,
Mr. Producer, what's the audience thinking?
Yeah, we got some questions here from our listeners. We have Victoria in New York wants to know: is it true that the full moon can affect people's moods?
Good question.
Yes, it can. It can, just like it affects the tides. The moon affects the tide. That's what makes tides come and go. And therefore, and it's just like there's a lot of babies are born with a full moon. So yeah, it has to do with energies. Like I said, from the new moon to the full moon, energies are growing. Once the moon goes full, energies start diminishing. So that's why
Oh.
There's more bar fights during a full moon.
Yeah, during a full moon. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, but it got frozen again. Man, I got such an interesting guest on here, and it's okay. Mr. Producer, what else you got?
So we have Stacy in Delaware wants to know, what are some warning signs we should look for if a service like yours is not legitimate?
Oh, go on. She can't hear her, I can't hear her, or a little technical difficulties here.
Okay, I didn't catch all of that. It was something about warning signs.
Yeah, Mr. Producer, you want to try that one more time?
Yeah, it was Stacy in Delaware asked, what are some warning signs we should look for if a service like yours is not legitimate?
One is them asking for lots of money. If you go for a reading and they start in, well, you stepped off in some hex or curse in a past life and you need to buy these $300-$500 crystals or $10-$20 crystals. This has actually happened here in Jackson. Just walk away. Never give them your cell phone
how much
number.
did you just say? What did you just say?
The first one was $10-$20 crystals, and then she went up to $300-$500 crystals, but you never see the crystals.
Oh my
You're just
God.
giving them the money so they can fix this hex or curse in your past life. Okay. If they're asking for thousands of dollars. Okay. Well, anyway, if you need me, you can call me at 731-265-4269. And I've got, there's email. You can actually contact me at Shari B. Yetto at yahoo.com and many other ways. Find me on Facebook. That's the easiest thing. Charlotte's Mystical Web. And like I said, maybe if we do this again, maybe without the video, might help the bandwidth or something. So, but anyway,
no
but you said you didn't hear my response?
None of the other ones, but we got that. How to get a hold of you, but yeah, maybe next time we'll just do it on the radio so we get a clear thing. But we got some great info, and you're an awesome guest. I can't wait to have you on again where we can hear you, and the audience can ask their questions too. But they went really well.
Yeah.
Just towards the end, we kind of froze up and we didn't hear it towards the end, but we got some great stuff in there. So Shari Yetto, everybody, Jackson, Tennessee. Go to charlottesmysticalweb.net. And I can't wait to talk to you again. So thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you. And we'll be right back, guys.
You too. All right. Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.